Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to my press conference. Going to take a look at my SuperCoach Classic side in a minute, but it is a fairly somber mood at Shorty HQ. We went down in the SuperCoach Draft Grand Final. We're not happy, we're disappointed, proud of the group, but we couldn't get it done. Dan, if you're watching this, congratulations. He's a fairly good opponent, is Dan. He's knocked me off before and he's done it again, but look, pretty good season overall. I had, I think I was on top in overall points, but, in the grand final, just a few guys that had been pretty good for me didn't fire. I know Scotty Thompson let me down, Tom Duday let me down badly, and Andy McGrath had to come in for Jimmy Webster to let me down. I lost Mills throughout the season, and Fife was probably a massive blow when you've got to, replace my number one selection at the start of finals, replace him with the rest of the pack, a bloke who's averaging 80. It does hurt, but I'm sure Dan probably had a few injuries as well, as did quite a few other teams. So, it's disappointing. I do have a pretty good draft record. It's pretty rare I don't make it to the grand final, but once you get there, even though it comes down to pure timing, when those weeks and scores and teams align, you do always like to feel you get the job done. But we didn't on this occasion. Disappointing. But, well done to Dan. Shorty will be back next season. And, I picked a really good side. There's no doubt about that. I love the draft concept. I think it really highlights those who truly do know it, because when you get deep in the draft, that's when you can't just quickly Google something. You've got to know it. You've got to know who's coming up, plan your team. There's a real science to it. And over the journey, I've done pretty well. But on this occasion, we've fallen one step short, which is a bugger. But moving on to SuperCoach Classic, that was a little bit better of a story. I mean, I scored well, as you'll see, 2,500, and that's, my second really good week in a row. And it's nice to feel vindicated a little bit, because I did preach coming out of the bias that I felt that this was a good team. This was, once they all got on the park and found some sort of form, it was a good side. And it's starting to show that. And I think some high-scoring rounds as well. I think a lot of people are scoring well, excuse me, as evidenced by the fact that I only went up 1,600 spots and was in the top 5% with a score that, you often think 25, 50, you're thinking it's probably going to be top 1, 2%, sort of highlighted by the massive scores. Now, ironically, it could have been so much better for Shorty if he had the C on Tom Mitchell. I'll walk through that in a second, but if we take a look at my side here, the back line was so-so. Simpson below par, Hurley below par. I bought Brayshaw in for Sicily. Savage was poor. But that midfield, that's the stuff you dream about. Have a look at that. They've all gone 110 plus. Most of them 120 plus, with some thumping scores in there. Very, very pleasing. I was stoked with that. The thinking behind Dangerfield and the swap, because as you see, I have loopholed down there. The thinking was that 126, maybe it was, what's the saying, once bitten, twice shy, or something like that. Fife the other week really hurt, and I ignored a score of about 120 on my VC. Fife gets injured. Not that I was thinking Mitchell would get injured, he's extremely durable, but more so the fact I thought, look, Curnow is a very good chance of playing a negating role on Mitchell, and I sort of justified it by, well, even if he goes unbelievable as we know he can, I'm probably looking at 150, 160 maybe, and I'll probably lose 30, 40, 50 points or whatever. I thought, the risk versus reward was clear, but, I'd probably make that decision again, but, in the end, I lost quite a few points, which is disappointing, but I'm not going to sort of sit here and get too cut up over that. Rucks were good, they've been great all year. Devon Smith, really good. Gray, really good. Menegola, really good. Isaac Heaney was so-so. Walters was strong. And McLean was, okay. He hasn't lulled, but he's not quite pumping out the tons as he was early in the season, but he'll get back to it, I'm sure. So overall, really pleasing. I'm still a little bit light on in terms of coverage, but I think I should be okay. We've got the 3 trades left, isn't it? 3 trades. I'm cutting it somewhat fine. But at this stage, it'll only be trades that need to be done by injury. So I just wanted to take a look at some of the Shorty SuperCoach leagues as well. I did promise that last week, but run out of time, I think, or the page wasn't loading. I can't remember. But so as you can see, I'm just going to sort of scroll through them, and you can sort of get your 2 cents worth. Hopefully, see your name pop up. If you were lucky enough to get in one of these leagues, they do go pretty quick. So as you can see, I am 7th in this one, and I would look somewhat likely to make finals. It's pretty close with 5th to 6th there, but anything can happen. Moving on. I might have got the same league there, do I? Potentially. I'll have to, what do we got there? You'd think, oh no, we've got, right, I see what I've done. I see what I've done here. We haven't even got into the Shorty SuperCoach leagues because my pages must have all refreshed. There you go. I thought it'd be smart and get into this early, you know, before I went live. I thought I'll get these pages up nicely, but I've actually gone back to work since, so I'm hotspotting off the work phone, which obviously just refreshes. I thought it just refreshed the page for what it was, but obviously just refreshes it as the leagues page, I guess. But so yeah, you get a riveting 30 seconds here as I just wait for these pages just to load. But yeah, clearly my time-saving techniques didn't quite work. But anyway, now hopefully you can see your name. And I don't think I'm going too well in this one. So there I am, 12th. So it's a real logjam on the 24 points there. And finals is all but kissed goodbye in that league, with a massive difference with the top 8, and I'm a long way off it there. This one, I think most of the other 3 I'm around 6 to 8. So obviously, you know, hopefully you can see your side. You know, we've got a pretty competitive league in this one. There's a few games difference between some, but a fairly competitive league. Shorty SuperCoach 3. On top there and absolutely flying, undefeated. Sorry, 2 defeats, misread that. A couple of defeats in there. There I am in 8th, so, you know, again, it's probably going to come down to a game or 2 here and there, percentage. And the 4th and final one. Fair gap between the top 4 in this one. So clearly it's just about trying to make the 8 and then see what you can do. But 5th to 10th, even 11th is pretty tight there. So I'll be hoping to squeeze in somewhere along there. But yeah, so no, I really appreciate, you know, these leagues always get snapped up really quick, and not only do I appreciate that they get snapped up quickly, but they're good leagues, you know. These aren't just people who jump in and have got no clue, and I expect that most of the people who listen to my channel do have a reasonable idea, and it's good to see that it is backed up by the numbers. You know, you look at these leagues just outside the top 1,000 in terms of overall leagues. I mean, that's really good. This one's inside the top 1,000. And I think we've got one right up there, 414, Shorty SuperCoach 3, the clear leader. So if you're in that one and you're doing well, congrats. And if you're in there and you're doing poorly, well, don't throw the towel in, because you need everyone going well for leagues to do well. And to put it in comparison, I mean, you might have seen when I had the SuperCoach HQ league up just before, I think most of those leagues are around the 400 mark generally. I mean, sometimes I've been in fan footy leagues that have been top 100. I might even check how I'm going, but you know, that's pretty good. I mean, there's some freakish leagues. People would strategically do it as well in the top 100, where you really plan it out and you make sure everyone's committed, everyone's good, and you get these unbelievable leagues. But to be in the top 500 and the top 1,000, but top 500 is clearly a very good league. So, look, appreciate it. I've covered a few bases today. My team, draft team, leagues. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. But stay tuned for a few more videos. Obviously, vids and interest have dried up a little bit. Also want to put it out there, you know, probably not the good idea to put it out at the end of a video, but if you've got any ideas on what other content I could do, please let me know, because I wouldn't mind. I do enjoy doing the SuperCoach, but maybe expanding to something else. I don't know, whether it's playing FIFA against my mates and just putting it up here, or more things that are humorous or a bit more personal to me. But anyway, if you've got any ideas, feel free to say so, and I'll be back pretty soon. Cheers.